New fallout now from a controversial comment that triggered a political backlash, and how. Democratic Governor Perdue of North Carolina raised eyebrows when she told a crowd that congressional elections should be suspended for a couple of years so that the lawmakers can just focus on the economy, not have to worry basically about re-election. Well, that brought howling criticisms from Republicans and raised questions about whether this governor was advocating folks to ignore the Constitution. Perdue's camp insists that her comments were, quote, hyperbole. Now she has come out and said her point was one of sarcasm, but not everyone is convinced. We actually just obtained the audio of the governor's comments. We will play it for you and let you decide whether this was meant as hyperbole or sarcasm or not. Take a listen.
We have to have more ability from Congress, I think, to work together and to get over the partisan bickering and focus on fixing things. I think we ought to suspend perhaps elections for Congress for 2 years and just tell them we want to hold it against them, whatever decisions they make, to just let them help this country recover. I really hope that somebody can agree with me on that.
Well, Republican from North Carolina State Senate leader Phil Berger is with me now to react. And, sir, you put out a press release saying, in light of her support for suspending congressional elections, I want to state clearly on the record, I do not support suspending our next gubernatorial election. Do you buy it that it's hyperbole, sarcasm, that it was not meant seriously?
I don't think so. I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt before the audio tape came out. But listening to the audio tape, it's fairly clear. I mean, she was soliciting support for the proposal at the very end of that. No, you know, if anything, we may need to move up next year's gubernatorial election.
Just put it in perspective for our audience why her suggestion is rather controversial.
Well, it basically says that the voters really aren't smart enough to figure things out. It says that what we need is some elite group to make decisions for us, and that they'll go ahead and make the right decisions for us, whether we think they're right or not. And it's counter to everything that our country stands for.
The former Charlotte mayor, Pat McCrory, who is expected to challenge Governor Perdue next year, came out and said the governor should admit she made a mistake here and just apologize, and said, and I quote, "It's one thing for the governor to suggest that we should suspend congressional elections as a very odd approach to getting the economy moving. It's an entirely different thing for the governor to get her staff to cover up her blatant mistake by saying she was joking." Now, again, they say they didn't say she was joking. It was hyperbole. It was sarcasm. But this is becoming a campaign issue now. Is there any chance in your mind that she actually believed, I mean, this is a constitutional provision. We have these elections in the House every 2 years, that she actually was advocating suspending the Constitution?
You know, I don't know that anybody can actually get in her head. But the thing is, she's the governor of the state of North Carolina, one of the larger states in the United States. When you hold that position, you don't make those kinds of comments, and you don't do it even if you're joking, or certainly you don't do it in the manner that she did, because I didn't hear anybody laughing.
Does it play into a greater narrative? Because there was a piece online today citing Governor Perdue's comments and then also pointing out that the former White House budget director under President Obama, Peter Orszag, has come out and said, and this is a quote, that we need to rely on more automatic policies in this country and depoliticized commissions to make more policy decisions given the gridlock in Washington, and went on to say that we need to make sure that political institutions suffering from gridlock are less democratic, and that's the only way you're going to get things done. Now, that may sound good for people who want to get things done, but there is the little old matter of the Constitution and the voters who are in part behind the gridlock. A lot of voters want gridlock. They don't want to see anything more get done.
Yeah, I don't see how the solution to our problems is less democracy. I see the solution to our problems is more involvement by the people, and I think that's what some of the power elites are concerned about, is that there are more people who are interested, more people who are involved. And you know, that just gets kind of messy as far as they're concerned.
But is the mere criticism of Governor Perdue on this comment, which, you know, one has to wonder whether she could possibly have been serious, right, on this remark, is the mere criticism of her evidence of why we have such gridlock? You know, I mean, listen, either she said something stupid or sarcastic or ridiculous. I don't know what it was, but now it's a story. The Republicans are making something out of it. you know, would there have been a day 20 years ago where people would have shrugged their shoulders and said, whatever, Governor Perdue saying whatever, but obviously it's not worth following up on?
Well, the governor has a history of making kind of off-the-cuff remarks. In fact, the paper this morning had some examples of that. You can see those at my website, philberger.com. If it were something similar to what she had done in the past, I would say yes, shrug it off. That's just Governor Perdue. But when she talks about ignoring the Constitution, when she talks about doing away with elections, you know, I think people get real sensitive about that sort of thing.
Senator Phil Berger, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megan.